start this. And I believe the reason that I ended the last one was because we're about to go and help D'Angelo again. Which kind of makes sense because, you know, like voicing D hurts my throat. He's already here, apparently. Knowing there are only so many places with a good enough view of the Manhattan Bridge, you decide to check the ones that aren't likely to be crowded at this time of night. Oh, he's gone. It doesn't take long before you hit the jackpot, Jane's Carousel. As you're walking along the pier, you notice a lonely figure sitting on the bench, steel flask in hand, with his legs up on the railing. Soon enough, you hear a familiar voice. Evening turned to night, and as the final flickering rays of the sunlight gave way to the nocturnal shadows, so did the last of the jabbering tourists give way to a blessed silence. And yet, I couldn't shake the feeling. Pausing mid-sentence, he looks back over the bench, backrest, and looks straight up at you. Upside down, his face looks even creepier than usual. I call that like pose, the anime pose. Like, you'll see people, it's kind of like with both arms over the back of a bench, and then they kind of like, you know, lean their head back until it's like upside down. That I wasn't alone. What's in the flask? That flask, is that what I think it is? Depends on what you think. It's a little something from my private reserve. I call it the Drunken Sailor, because that's probably where it came from. I tend not to ask, but the warlock who prepared this knows what I like. He takes a sip, then points the flask in your general direction. Want some? No, thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. Suit yourself, kid. You're missing out. But hey, if you like your bad news sober, there's been another one. Killing, I mean, down by the docks. Say memo? The blood, the graffiti? Yep, it was our gal, alright. Victim sucked dry, same as before. Another sign on the wall. Something about impending doom and oh lord, he coming. The particulars escape me. You know, that night I saw her. She looked so frail, so innocent. Deep inside, I was hoping she'd be spooked to get out of town. That maybe, just maybe, that would be the end of it. But that's me, you know, hopefully optimistic. And let's get back to D'Angelo and the Killers. Not the Killers, the band. I'm assuming there's at least one killer. So what's the plan? The plan is... He stops mid-sentence, takes a swig of liquid courage. We stop her at any cost. I'd rather it not involve killing the girl, but I'm starting to think that ship has already sailed. Another swig. You're not sure how much of this is genuine and how much is an act, but still, he's starting to worry you a bit. So, anyway, I've set up a meeting, neutral ground, public space. Shouldn't get too ugly. Still, I was hoping you could tag along. Who are we meeting? He takes another compulsive swig. Better strap in, cause this one's a doozy. Oh, come on, it can't be that bad. Who are we meeting? Valerie. I'm sorry, I must have misheard you. Wanna try that again? I know how it sounds. Listen, kid, I know you two didn't exactly hit it off, but she's not as bad as you might think. I mean, in some respects, she's probably worse, but she can be reasoned with. Once again, he goes for the flask, but stops himself mid-motion. Look, the way I see it, we ain't got a choice. As much as I want to help Sana, she's clearly a few bats short of a belfry. More people are gonna die, unless we do something about it. You think Valerie can be trusted? D'Angelo almost does a spit take. Fuck no. But we can do business with her. I'm just worried that her asking price might be too steep for my liking. But then again, you don't always get what you want, huh? Noticeably proud of his words of wisdom, he tries to top him off with one last swig. Oh, top him off, yeah, okay. A single drop falls between his crooked teeth. He looks at the empty flask with utmost content. Well, ain't that fucking poignant? Muttering a curse under his breath, he makes a valiant effort to get up off the bench. As he staggers, struggling to remain upright, you offer your shoulder to lean on. He shoots you a smile that's as crooked as it is affectionate. Hey kid. You meet his gaze, trying to look friendly rather than condescending. You're alright. And with that heartfelt moment, you bid adieu to the sprawling vista and make your way towards the bridge. Next stop, Manhattan. Entering the park from Midtown Manhattan, you promptly take a spot by one of the alleys. Not very deep into the park. Minutes pass. 5, 10, 15. You start to wonder if she's even going to show up. I can't remember her voice, I'll just go with what I'm feeling in the moment. Suddenly, you hear a familiar voice, but an unfamiliar tone. She sounds almost nice. Hello, Ginny. And there she is, walking along the side of the fountain. She looks less out of place here than back in that junkie-infested hovel, but only by a slight margin. Something tells you there are only so many places she would feel at home, and probably not ones you'd want to find yourself in. Val. She glances over at you, barely noting your presence. Sorry about last time. Nothing personal, you understand. When I get caught up in the moment, I can get a bit intense. I can attest to that. Play nice, you two. We have some business to discuss. All work and no play, huh? Why not? She turns to D'Angelo and flutters her eyelashes. You can tell she doesn't see you as her equal, but this come-hither routine is getting kind of unnerving. Lay it on me, sugar. We have a proposition for you. Basically what I said. Does the pub speak for you, Ginny? Because I'm getting a weird Sorcerer's Apprentice vibe right now. Give the kid a break, Val. We're here about Sana, the thin blood you're after. Also, yes, more redheads. The girl's a threat. We need to find her. Figured we could do it faster if we work together. Uh-huh. Keep going, honey, because I have a feeling there's a catch coming. The catch is... Awkward silence. It's not often you see him at a loss for words. Seeing him struggle, you decide to jump in. We want the girl to stay alive. See, now that's a deal breaker right there, sugar. If you want me to even consider it, you'll have to sweeten the deal pot. My brain automatically went deal, and then my mouth kept reading, so it turned into sweeten the deal pot. Which kind of fits the weird accent I'm going with right now. Once again, she turns to D'Angelo. And I bet tall, dark, and handsome over here might have some ideas. You want a cookie? I don't like where this is going. Okay, now I really don't like where this is going. Don't get too excited, kid. She wants a higher profile target to show off to the prince what a good little scourge she is. That all you care about nowadays, huh? Playing the game, climbing the ranks? A smile creeps up on her lips. You can tell it's forced. D'Angelo definitely knows how to get under her skin. That's my Ginny. A big old brain and a heart to match. Once again, she turns to you. I knew right away he'd tried to help this girl. He just loves himself a damsel in distress. But you, I'm still not sure what your angle is. I almost read that as angel, I'm glad I didn't. What do you care? I don't, honey, not really. It's called making conversation. So there, you know my terms. Contact me when you've made up your mind. Don't take too long though, I'm a lucky girl. I might just find you a little thin blood on my own. Still, I hope we can work together. We did make a good team back in the day, didn't we? Slowly, seductively, she puts her arms on his shoulders. She glances over to you, clearly enjoying how awkward it makes you feel. You really do have a thing for the hidden, don't you? My things are none of your concern, sugar. Anyway, withdrawing from the strange half-embrace, she flicks D'Angelo's nose gently with her index finger. Almost instantly, she turns from flirtatious to dispassionate. However this plays out, I have a feeling we'll meet again. Sooner than later. I should probably put a rather in there, but the writers didn't feel the need to put a rather, so... sooner than later. Until then... Without sparing you another glance, she disappears down an unlit park alley. D'Angelo watches her go. The look on his face, a mixture of longing and guilt, is borderline comical. Finally, he turns back towards you, as if breaking some spell he was under. Well, that could have gone a lot worse. Okay, I have to ask, did you and her ever... Nope, not going there. Val and I, we got some history. Some of it good, some of it bad. Let's leave it at that. And kid, don't be fooled. Val likes to play around, but she will rip your fucking guts out and stuff them up your ass if it means she can get what she wants. And right now, she wants me to give her Larson. Why would she want Larson? He's a primogen, remember? A weak one, but still. For a scourge, he's a much more valuable target than some no-name Duskborn. And it so happens a certain someone might have some dirt on him. He squints, rubbing the bridge of his nose. Fuck it, I'm heading back to the office. Need to get my feet up, get some blood flowing to the old noggin. You coming? You nod. Why the hell not? And so, you make your way towards Fifth Avenue. You've got a long way ahead of you, and a lot of stuff to figure out. Although it's not your first visit, you still find it hard to navigate the dark, rust-ridden corners of the grain terminal. Luckily, this time, you're with someone who could probably do this blindfolded, so you just follow his lead. As you're both climbing the rickety stairs leading to the mezzanine, you suddenly notice light coming from D'Angelo's office. A quick look assures you that no, he did not, in fact, leave it on. You bust through the door, like Undead Tango and Hooch, or was that Turner and Cash, ready to unleash unholy fury on the intruders. You half expect an Anarch death squad or a Second Inquisition hunting party. Instead, you get Larson, who nearly falls out of the chair when you two bust in. Well, look who it is. Missed us already? Hardly. Seemingly both intrigued and irritated by the surprise visit, D'Angelo walks over to a cabinet and pulls out a fresh cigar. Then may I ask what brings you, O venerable primogen, to my humble abode? Her. He points at a tiny shadow cowering in the corner of the room. To your astonishment, it turns out to be a familiar face. The blood, no. Not again. Please. Did she tell you anything? She just keeps babbling about blood and signs and all this nonsense. She came to my house yesterday, probably figured out who I was, thought I could help. But honestly, I have no idea what to do with her. I mean, I should turn her into the prince, but that's just another strike against my people. Then again, I can't just set her loose, not after what she did. Fuck, D'Angelo. You can tell I'm desperate, if my first instinct was to come to you. No, Larson. I would attribute that decision to what's left of your common sense. He leans over to you. Hey, kid. I think we should call it a night. Just give me some time to talk to the girl. Maybe I'll get through to her somehow. The sign, it's always there. Though, I ain't holding my breath. Honestly, you're glad to leave him to it. Spending the night in a small room with a tiny serial killer somehow doesn't seem too appealing. Still, you're hoping D'Angelo will be alright. He's got some tough choices ahead of him. So that goes to halfway, and we've got another thing to do tonight. Now, we could maybe do the faith thing. I'm not sure how interested I am in it for this character, because this character isn't very spiritual. So the other stuff we could do, let's do the Somebody's Watching Me, and we'll probably do Mi Abuela as well next time, and then we'll decide which one of these we want to do. Walking down the night street near your haven, you suddenly spot a young, disheveled woman leaning against a wall. She looks you straight in the eyes and disappears into an alley. She is your stalker, you're certain of it. You take a few running steps to catch up with her, determined to find out what this is all about. Ducking into the alley, you come upon a grisly scene. An old man, a pensioner really, lies broken on the ground, telltale puncture marks on his neck. 3 vampires stand above the corpse, licking their lips. All were embraced young, 2 men and a woman. Black hoodies, bicycle chain, a facial tattoo. You've never seen them before, and you assume you know why. They're Anoks. Hey, it's that Camarilla fucker, just as promised. I like beating up these privileged little shits. You walked into the simplest ambush in the world. The woman you saw briefly at the mouth of the alley is nowhere in sight. Perhaps that shouldn't be surprising, given her obvious powers of invisibility. You know what? Let's do this another night. Bye! There's a chain link fence at the end of the alley. You engage the powers of your blood and run right past the Anoks vaulting over the fence. They run in pursuit, and one has supernatural speed too. I didn't even hesitate. I was like, celerity, fucking run. One of them probably has celerity, but bugger it. However, she struggles to keep up as you slip from alley to alley, take a shortcut through a small park, and vanish into the subway. It's difficult to keep up with vampiric speed, even if you have similar powers. Once you emerge back above ground, you wonder what this means. Your mystery stalker was clearly willing to endanger the Masquerade to get you beaten up. Yet, it didn't feel like they were going to kill you. Whatever it was, your reflexes saved you from a face full of hurt. Okay, interesting. I'm trying to figure out how long I have left for this recording, because I had to stop it partway through. I think probably about 30 more minutes or so. These have been reasonably quick. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, they've been reasonably quick. So we can't do any more today. We will rest, and then possibly do drunk Toreadors? I guess we could do a D'Angelo and then Mi Abuela. Yeah, why not? Okay. We'll do another D'Angelo, we'll do another Agathon, and we'll see where we stand after that. Although my voice isn't going to thank me for this choice, because now I have to do more D'Angelo. As you make your way up the stairs, you notice that D'Angelo's office is surprisingly quiet. You were half expecting something akin to a scene from The Exorcist, with Sana belching out curses and your companion sprinkling her with, well, whatever it is, vampires use for holy water. What you witness instead, as you open the door, is a picture of Serenity. The girl, although still curled up in the corner, is sitting calmly with her eyes fixed on the pages of some pulpy detective novel. She doesn't even register your presence. Sitting behind his desk, D'Angelo seems to be looking over some files, puffing on his usual brand of cigar. Seeing no trace of Larson, you assume he must have gone back to his family. Noticing your presence, the vampire detective leans back in his chair and gives you a tired look. "Hey there, kid. Glad you could make it." "Any luck with Sana? You managed to get anything out of her?" Same old, mumble, mumble, ominous non sequitur. "But I do know one thing. She might not be all there." He pats himself on the forehead in an utterly unnecessary attempt to illustrate the point. "But she's not all gone, either. I think there's still hope for this girl. Anyway, I've been going over the case files, mulling over our options. Surprise, surprise, they all suck donkey dick. No matter how we go about this, someone gets fucked over. Her, Larson, us. What options do we have?" "Alright then, lay it on me. What options do we have?" "Okay, let's polish that turd. Here's how I see it. 1, we grab Sana and take her to Elysium and make a case for her to Prince Panhard. Isn't it Panhard? Or Parnard? I'm pretty sure it's Panhard. I guess the H in the end just got switched round. 2, we get Valerie back to back off by feeding her the dirt I got on Larson. 3, we try to get Sana out of the city. Come on, kid, I can hear them thoughts bouncing around your head from over here. Out with it." Elysium? Isn't that a death sentence? You want to bring Sana to Elysium? Isn't that pretty much a death sentence? Pretty much, but not quite. If we can get an audience with Panhard, we might be able to convince her to spare Sana's life. The prince isn't as much of a hard ass as some people would like her to be. She'd probably rather avoid further alienating the Dustborn community. That said, if we run into Kadir, we're good as fucked. What do you have on Larson? What kind of dirt do you have on Larson anyway? Must be some serious shit. Oh, it is. A few years back, the Second Inquisition led a coordinated assault on New York kindred. Operation Lights Out, they called it. Nasty fucking business that was. A lot of good vampires died. Some of them I knew personally. Larson was one of the Inquisition's first targets, but when they got to him, he managed to convince them to spare his life. In exchange, he fed them info on a fellow Camarilla member, one Nicky the Chop. Oh, goddamn my throat. Suffice it to say, Nicky didn't make it through the night. Okay, times are wasting. What do you think we should do? You're letting me decide? Look, kid, I've been at it all day, mulling it over, and all I got from my trouble was a splitting headache. I just don't know anymore. All I'm asking for is your honest opinion. Just pick one and make a case. Convince me it's the right thing to do, or at least wrong. Or the least wrong, at least. So, one more time. Bring the girl to Elysium, trade her life for Larson, or sneak her out of town. Which one would you go with? I will say that the nice person in me would say, let's get her out of the city. This character would not go that far for someone putting them so much on the line. However, they are kind of a nice person, this character, I think. It does, self-interested, but also, wants to help people when possible. And the important thing is like, he's not prejudiced, so he doesn't hate Thin Bloods, for example. And Larson seems to be good for the Thin Bloods. So taking her to Elysium gives her a chance, but also, she needs looking after. And keeping an eye on, or killing. Like, worst comes to worst, at least she won't kill anymore. So I'm going to go with Elysium. Bringing her to Elysium seems like the most reasonable thing to do. And the cruelest, or at the very least, the most risky. If we can't convince Panhard to give Sana a shot, the girl's as good as dead. Yeah, maybe you're right, it does sound risky. No, I was just tits. Oh, I don't want to do that, because neither of these are in his character. Can I reload? I was just like, the way it was worded, it seemed like, maybe you're right, it's risky, but, and then you can have they implied that, although, I guess Larson is the other choice. Like, getting her out of the city isn't, but Larson, like, selling someone else out is a dick move, so I guess, that's annoying, but I guess the way I see it, Larson's had it coming. Let him answer for what he did. Tell it to his wife and kids. Look, I'll be the first to admit, Larson's no saint, but let's not pretend throwing him to the wolves will make us sprout angel wings, alright? There's always collateral damage. Maybe you're right. There we go, okay. So, like, and the cruelest, etc., etc., okay. Oh, he agreed this time? Oh god. I thought it was going to give me the choice again. Do me a favor, kid. Watch her for a few minutes, okay? I gotta make some arrangements, make a few calls. He catches himself, looks at you with an expression of the phoniest of phony guilts. But not like with a phone or anything, cause, that would make me a naughty boy, which I'm clearly not. He walks out of the office. Through the frosted windows, you see him instantly go for his clamshell phone. Screw it. Does it really make a difference at this point? You turn to the girl, who still has her nose in the book. Hell of a week, huh? She looks up from the book. Her eyes glaze over. Hell. A shiver runs down your spine. You decide it's best to leave her to her reading and spend the next few minutes in complete silence. Finally, D'Angelo staggers back into the room. Alright, I called a friend of mine who works in the art hall. She says the prince is there right now in her private quarters. We'll just have to figure out a way to get an audience. He walks over to Sana and crouches beside her. Speaking softly, he takes the book out of her hands and gently strokes her head. Hey darling, I need you to listen very carefully. We're gonna go on a little trip, okay? You need to stay quiet and stay close to me. Can you do that? Stay close to D. She squints, trying her best to concentrate. D'Angelo. Yeah, close enough. Something akin to a smile creeps up on her face. It's as close to happy as you've seen her. Gift, not hurt. D'Angelo returns her smile. You're welcome. He turns to you, putting his serious face back on. He nods. Looks like it's go time. The art hall welcomes you with all its usual weirdness and grotesqueries masquerading as contemporary art. Right now, however, art is the last thing on your mind, as the three of you make your way through the crowd of usual suspects. D'Angelo gestures towards a lone figure standing in the corner. To your surprise, it turns out to be Sophie. As you approach, she raises an eyebrow, taking an especially long look at Sana. And here I thought nothing in this world could surprise me anymore. Mind telling me what it is you're doing here? D'Angelo nods courteously. We're here to see Prince Panhard. Don't suppose you could help us get an audience? I think you're confusing me with the Prince's Herald. An honest mistake in this lighting. Still, I'm afraid you're out of luck. From what I've heard, the Prince is not accepting visitors. I'll owe you one. Come on, help us out here. I'll owe you one. Her lips smile, but her eyes pierce you with an unflinching gaze. You already owe me one, and much more than just one. Suddenly you hear a voice from behind you. It's the last voice you could possibly want to hear right now. Maybe I can help. You look over to D'Angelo. He seems frozen in place, not able to move a single muscle. This is bad. Very bad. Keeping things casual, Kadir tips an imaginary hat in your general direction. When he looks at Sana, you notice his expression sour, if ever so slightly. Perhaps this is a conversation best had in private. Follow me? Before leaving, he nods at Sophie. Langley? Kadir? Again, you glance over to D'Angelo, but he doesn't even acknowledge it. He seems to be in a state of deeply internalized panic. Not seeing any way to get out of the situation, you follow Kadir into a backstage area. There, he stops and addresses you once more. It is good to see you, D'Angelo. It's been a while since you last showed your face around here, and I see you've brought friends. So, how about we skip the unnecessary drama, and you two leave without incident while I take care of our thin-blood guest? The girl's mentally ill. You can't hold her responsible for her actions. I'm not holding her responsible for anything. She's a problem. It's my job to solve problems. It doesn't have to be this way. Just let us talk to Panhard. That's Prince Panhard to you, D'Angelo. And no, your harebrained scheme isn't going to work. What exactly do you think was going to happen? You bring the Duskborn with a blood hunt on her head to my doorstep and what? I hope that the prince stays my cruel hand? Honestly, I thought you were smarter than that. But I promise to make it quick, painless. That's as much as you'll get, so don't push it. And with that, he turns to Sana. His expression grows softer, almost kind. He then grabs her by the hand gently. There is not even an inkling of violence in his demeanor. Come, my child. You have been very brave. The pain is almost over. Pain over. With blissful ignorance, she looks at you and D'Angelo as the sheriff walks her out of the room. Your companion looks broken, as if something inside him just snapped. Without even looking at you, he utters under his breath, I killed her. You gave it your all. Sometimes shit just happens. And there's nothing you can do. Nice catchphrase, kid. You should have it printed on a t-shirt. A moment of awkward silence ensues. I really thought I could save her, you know. Not really knowing what to say, you raise your hand to pat him on the back. You stop yourself mid-motion. Somehow it doesn't seem like the thing to do. You leave the art gallery and head back to Red Hook. On your way, you keep thinking about Sana and whether now's the exact moment Kadir brings her final death. It's not a pleasant journey. Slowly, clumsily, you make your way back to the grain terminal. No words are spoken, no bad jokes made, no monologues muttered, and no smiles exchanged. There's only silence and vacant stares. As you head up the stairs to D'Angelo's office, you can feel the tension rising. You can tell the mouldy sleuth has reached a breaking point. He walks into his office and leans on his cluttered desk. You figure now's as good a time as any to break the silence. Look, I know tonight's been rough, but you can't let it get to you. The moment you finish your sentence, D'Angelo leans in and sweeps all of his stuff off the desk. Notepads, bits of paper, and what looks like a cheap imitation of an antique lamp. It all comes crashing to the floor. It doesn't stop there, as he grabs a heavy file cabinet and knocks it over. Slowly but surely, the once quiet office turns into a heap of crumpled paper and broken furniture. The tantrum lasts for mere seconds, but as you stand there watching, it feels like forever. Finally, D'Angelo stops and looks up at the ceiling. It's hard to tell if he's had enough, or simply run out of stuff to throw around. As he stands there, slowly regaining composure, one of the objects scattered on the floor catches your eye. It's a small paperback novel, the same you saw Sana reading earlier tonight. It must have landed there while D'Angelo was giving the room a royal trashing. You pick it up. The title on the cover spells, in huge letters, The Longest Night and Other Stories. The smaller caption underneath reads, Another collection of stories in the Gianni D'Angelo saga. What in the actual fuck? You flip it over and are immediately drawn to the picture on the back cover. If not for a lack of flaky skin and distorted features, you'd say the guy looks very familiar. The name next to the picture, Reginald Finch. You stand there, not even knowing where to start. Even in his current state, D'Angelo, or whatever his name is, remains one step ahead of you. Yeah, that's me in the picture. Reggie fucking Finch. Haven't seen him in a while. Wasn't planning to. You took on the name of your character? Afraid it's more than that. I sort of became him. See, Reggie Finch was a pushover. Small-time journalist and a wannabe writer. He would never survive out there among the coteries of New York. Gianni D'Angelo, on the other hand, honestly, it just sort of happened. Guess it was the only way I could make sense of it all. I mean, once you wake up looking like this, realizing your life and all that you were was gone forever, you can't really blame me for trying to at least make it interesting. I guess, to some extent, we all act in front of others. We make up characters, idealized versions of ourselves. It gives us something to live up to. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still weird, but it's not that weird. D'Angelo. For a moment, he seems to be mulling over what you just told him. Finally, he picks up the ashtray off the floor. Rummaging through the ashes, he finds a mangled, half-finished cigar. He sticks it in his mouth and lights up, the flame of the lighter reflecting in his shades. He smiles at you, ever so slightly. Thanks, kid. Tell you what, how about you take the rest of the night off? I need some time to get my shit in order. Starting with this office, some dumb assholes made one hell of a mess of it. You smile and nod. He nods back. I'll be seeing you. And so, as you leave him to his thoughts, no way to be sure, but you have a feeling he's gonna be alright. I am so glad I didn't kill D'Angelo. Sana dying is a bit of a shame, but honestly, it was the best choice. The other choice, like running away with her, bad choice. Just bad choice. The other choice was giving up the Primogen, but I feel like giving up the Primogen would have been bad for all of the Thin Bloods, because currently they're treated decently, and losing the Primogen would be bad. So yeah, I'm glad on that one, I think. Yeah. And in the next video, we'll go and have a little chat with the drunk Tremere.